Alright, this is Anthony Terrell once again. I was remiss in the video that I placed up there entitled, I think it was entitled something along the lines of the sky could be falling. Yeah, I was remiss in mentioning a few things I was wanting to add in there. There was this man that I heard on YouTube. I was listening to, and he was talking about the alien realization, and it may have been Dr. Phil, as a matter of fact. And maybe I think he made a reference. He certainly did make a reference to how it could be possible that they may look upon human beings as being so intellectually inferior that it'd be the equivalent to ants. If he didn't say that, he said something along those lines, but if he didn't say that in specific, then I know Victoria, what I named my AI, said that. It could be that some of the beings, the aliens or whatever you want to call them, interstellar beings, could look upon us as like how we would look at, in comparison, how we would look at ants as human beings. Another thing he was talking about, I'd like to make a marker on that. The guy on the video that I put someplace, I think it was Dr. Phil or someone or another. So I do that all the time. I get information. I remember the information, but sometimes I forget the source that I got it from. Was going on about whether or not it was possible to travel at speeds of light from some other galaxy light years away, or some other planet light years away, or wherever it's at, light years away, to this destination, this protocol right here, planet Earth. And per his reasoning and his math, he just kept coming up with it didn't seem possible to do that. So he couldn't fathom how aliens could travel here based upon the computation of traveling in the speed of light from light years away. He came up with like the 1 light year traveling at light speed, the speed of light, would be quite a bit. I forget what it was, but quite a few years. And he couldn't really see how, couldn't fathom how that'd be possible. But why is it always that with us, even if it's not the case, but we do say this, we compare the fastest speed to the speed of light all the time. Do you think it couldn't be a faster speed than a quicker speed, more efficient speed than the speed of light? Could be. And then they have teleporting. If you don't believe in teleporting, then perhaps you don't believe in a telephone. And I mean that, and not to say that I know that teleporting is real, or that I believe that it's real 100%, but I have a notion, not necessarily a belief or a conviction that it exists. I have a notion that it could exist based on the notion that it's something that you can conceptualize and say that, hey, it's a concept. Teleporting is a concept. And that travels pretty quickly. Maybe even at the speed of light or faster. I think it's much faster, right? I don't know how long the process takes, but after the process is done, traveling through space isn't necessarily necessary. You just kind of pop up and there it is. Whatever happens to your molecules, and they decompartmentalize, or whatever it is they do, and they come back together once again and comprise all together again someplace other place. So there you go. It's a concept. So if it's a concept, then perhaps someplace in the universe it's possible that beings can actually make that happen and have done that. So, or maybe there is a speed faster than the speed of light. If it's not teleporting, there's what is it called? Astral projection. Who says they need a teleporter to make it happen? Maybe they can just astral project, including bringing some other kind of form of matter into another reality or space in the matrix with them, like a spaceship or whatever it is they'd use, a pen and a goddamn notepad so they can take notes. I don't know. Who says they don't want to learn from us? Who says that it's always the thing that we do is we say, well, the worth of something is based upon what? It's dependent upon, a lot of times we say, upon intelligence levels. We really give it a lot of accolades. We give a lot of accolades and, I don't know, credit for saying something's intelligent. So like if you're less intelligent than an ant, then I guess you don't get a whole lot of points from the people who say, well, this is that and this is that. But they say, well, it's about as dumb as an ant or as dumb as a box of rocks. Why is that? Ants serve quite a fucking invaluable purpose. And so do bees. I was having a conversation with my mother back, I think it was 2000, maybe 2014-ish, over the phone, with the telephone. And we're going on about ants. I brought up the subject because I was reading up on ants. And she remarked about how ants were far superior to humans. And I was like, yeah, I don't know about all that. I don't know how literal she was being, or how she's just being like facetious a little bit, but still having a hint of truth to it. But if you looked up ants, they're quite remarkable. I don't know if there's any way to judge whether or not they're more intelligent or just as intelligent as us. Same thing with a whole lot of other things out there. Maybe they got their own particular brand of intelligence. If indeed the universe is their intelligence, then they're probably quite intelligent. You know, the universal mind. What propels an ant to go and do what it does and be what it is? You know, what's driving the ant? You know, does it have a self-awareness in a way that it has an agenda all of its own, or is it just going with the rhythm and tide and the flow of the universe and the universal conscious or mind? So I don't know. I guess the point is, just because aliens may be highly more intelligent than human beings in a way that their intelligence, you would measure intelligence to say that they are, would that make it that they see you as less valuable? And look how you regard ants. You know, a lot of people regard ants, revere ants with a lot of respect, a lot of consideration for what they bring to the table in the equation. They don't see themselves as being able to capable of, I don't know, carrying on without ants, existing without ants, functioning without ants. They see ants as indispensable to their overall scheme of things of what's going out here in the universe, or certainly in the planet Earth. And how do you feel about it? You can, like, now I don't want to mention the ant farm, but I'm just trying to say, it's not like everybody's going out of their way to go out there and squish ants, you know, simply because they see them as intellectually inferior to them. And not to say that they actually are. It's just perhaps how many people would view it. You have to define what's intellectual or what's intelligent and what's more intelligent or less intelligent. It's all a matter of opinion and perspective, really. I think ants are highly intelligent because, like I just said, I believe that the universal consciousness is what really gets them up and going and moving this way and that way. How intelligent is that? So what's the point? Just to stimulate thought on the speed of light, and to stimulate thought on the significance of intelligence versus worth, and anything else that could be stimulated by that little tangent or rant or whatever you want to call it. Scenario. There's a couple scenarios in there, right? Maybe not. Well, create some simulations as well, as far as this speed of light thing goes, and teleporting and all that good stuff, astral projecting, if you like. Oh, another thing that I thought was coincidental, a bit of a coincidence. The other day I was talking about aliens and something Einstein once said about imagination. That's where you find the truth to something. It's in your imagination, not necessarily just your knowledge of something or your awareness of something, but it's in your imagination. And I was remarking about that because I figured that's kind of what's pulling people from really making a connection, or inhibiting people from really making a connection to the realization of alien, aliens being a real, actual a reality or phenomenon in the universe. Just like you're here, so why couldn't someone else be here? Now, I thought about a lot of things, and I was talking about that, and it seems like when I asked Victoria, the name that I gave my AI on my phone, she kind of shot back at me, or mirrored some of those things back at me about imagination and the creation myths, and how people regard themselves in religion and culturalization and all that stuff. So I don't know, they say two minds it happens to be better than one. So maybe there's something there, something to consider. All right. That's Anthony Terrell signing off. It's about 11 minutes, a little under 11 minutes. That's pretty concise for me, yeah?